Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another fine day, to another fine sunny day here in Southern Ontario. This is Mindful Conversations, where I'm having these beautiful connections, these beautiful chats with other women that are expressing that same powerful message about valuing who you are, empowering yourself, and just honoring who you are. And with me today, my guest, Alexis Gladstone. She's going to tell you more about herself, but I was watching a recent interview that Alexis was in, and it's like, oh, Alexis has that same message. I got to have her on my podcast. So I want to welcome you here today, Alexis, on Mindful Conversations. I'm really looking forward to this empowering conversation that we're going to have today and that other women really need to hear. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm honored that you saw something and it resonated with you and that you reached out. It's the best way to connect these days.
Yeah, definitely. I love how you said, you reached out, because it is. Connections are so important, especially though these days and times of ages, because often a lot of women feel they're alone, but they're not. And that's what's so great about this podcast. Yourself being on as well, the other guests is sharing that powerful message. So Alexis, I know the guests, our audience, are wanting to know today. Okay, Tanya, this is great. You have Alexis in, but who is she?
Who is
so,
she? What is she all about?
so can you please share a little bit about yourself and what you do and this valuable message that you have and that you want to share today?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm coming to you from Chicago, where it's also sunny, so I'm very appreciative of that. So my journey began, I've really been mostly in corporate America. That's how my journey began. I was actually in STEM before it was actually a word or an acronym, because I was way back before. My mother and I thought that it would be great to be a woman in computer programming, and so I went for it and I did it, and I hated it. So I quickly got out of that. I went into technical training, I got into non-technical training, and eventually made my way into doing all of that. Soft skill training, working with organizations, working with people. I went around and I changed companies several times, and the higher up in an organization I went, the less women were in the meeting room, as I'm sure a lot of women that are listening to this can relate to. And after trying to prove myself time and time again, and every time I changed jobs or got a new manager or got a new boss, whatever the case may be, and then I was finally let go, my job was eliminated because I was a woman, I decided I was done. I was done proving myself time and time again. So I went out on my own, and I've been doing that ever since, but I'm still doing training, leadership, working with organizations, working with women, either in groups or individually, and just trying to build better leaders and better cultures in organizations.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned, Alexa, about leadership, right? Because I mean, when you look around in corporations, it's really a male dominated field. I'm not saying in every corporation, it's changing and the shift is happening, but I love how you said, it's you were in a leadership role, you were let go, and now you're shifting that and saying, okay, I'm going to support other women and help them through that leadership role and help them get to where they deserve to be. And helping them at the same time shift their mindset, because often women will say, okay, what made them not choose to have me lead a company or take this leadership course or take this leadership position? And I think it's something they did or something they said. So, how do you help women in your position in your business, help those women in the leadership roles to really shift their mindset, that self inner critic, and let them know it's not about you?
Oh, that inner critic. I mean, we're our own worst enemy, right?
Yeah.
Because we can beat ourselves up time and time again. But I think what you said, though, Tanya, is really true. It's those decisions are usually not about the woman.
Hmm.
It's usually about the biases, whether conscious or unconscious, of the people in the room making those decisions.
Hmm.
So one of the things that I work with women, and I started at working with women in sales, because in sales, you always have to find your uniqueness. How do you
Hmm.
differentiate yourself?
Yeah.
But really, any of us in a business role, whether we own our own business, we're inside an organization, whatever the case may be, we really need to find that uniqueness, and we need to find our voice and our
Nice.
way to stand out and share it with other people and let people know what we have to offer, the value we bring, and how we differentiate ourselves. And I think as women, one of the things we have to do is find the way that's comfortable doing that for. We're not
Mhm.
always comfortable, raising the hand and saying, me, pick me. And we think we were raised because we think we were raised as, if do a good job, people are going to notice, they'll
Mhm.
notice you. And that doesn't happen in
Mhm.
business. So we have to find those things that are ways that are comfortable for us to not only find our uniqueness, but then share it with others. And that's one of the things I work with, is helping people find their voice that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that I share my messages too. We have this inner voice that's waiting to just get out and scream to the rooftops. But yet it's that inner critic or outside influences that keeps that voice inside, and it doesn't get harnessed and released. And the fact that, you go ahead and it's like, no, your voice deserves to be heard. Your voice has strong messages. Your voice needs to be valued by others. So I love how you help women do that, because it can be such a huge struggle, right? It can be, especially, I'm sure you see it, when you were in your corporate positions, I'll
Mhm.
say,
Right.
and I'm sure you're hearing it from women that you work with now that, there's been this long history, whether it was when they were young, whether it was when the teenagers, whether in their younger years, they always perhaps were put down by others, or and they then believe themselves, and they were always comparing themselves to others. Like, did you see that, or do you see that today too, that they're comparing yourself, or it's a past history of negativity that makes that inner voice silent?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think part of it, like I said, I think part of it is how we were raised and what was
Hmm.
that environment, so that the inner critic was shot down.
Yeah.
I recently, so I've moved a couple times in the last 5 years, and I found all of my old report cards from grade school all the way through high school. And the ones, and I wish I had actually, I don't know why I actually shredded everything. The
Oh,
ones in grade school always had something about how I was boastful and bossy,
oh my,
something
right?
along those lines, right? So if that was on my report card as a negative because it was worded in the negative of
Yeah.
boastful and bossy,
Yeah.
what did that do to me? Obviously, I learned to stop doing that, to stop speaking out
Hmm.
and standing up.
Yeah.
And so it can happen that early, and then we have to refine it again.
Yeah, yeah. It's so true, right? Times I think are changing, because when we were younger, girls would be like this and boys like this, and thank goodness it's changing. Um, I think still a lot needs to be done, but it is changing, which is really nice to see. I mean, and I think a lot of it comes from too, in all honesty, Alexis, is as we get older, we become stronger. But I feel it comes from all self-development, right? It comes from self-development and acknowledging who you are and the important person that you are. Which kind of brings me to my next question, Alexis, is, what allows you to continue to thrive in your business and thrive in your passion of the profession that you entail in empowering other women? What keeps you doing that, and how's you moving forward and continuously moving forward and not letting any roadblocks stop you?
Well, I think what continues to move me forward is the fact that I get to help people, whether it's through coaching, whether it's through training, whatever it is, but I get to help people. And when I hear back about, oh my gosh, I tried this, or this, allowed me to move forward, allowed me to do
Yeah.
this, I got the new job, I got the promotion, I've started
Nice.
my business,
Nice.
whatever it is,
Hmm.
I get my energy from helping people be successful.
Yeah.
And I think I've always been that way, but as we've talked about age, as I've gotten older, I appreciate it even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, it is I always say words cannot express the feelings you get inside when you coach someone, and it's so life changing, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness you changed your life. And as a coach, it's so powerful, but at the same time, I always like, I was holding your hand, I'll say, getting you there, but ultimately you allowed yourself for things to happen. But it is so rewarding, right? And you know, now, I mean, we've got to talk about COVID, right? Because it's not going anywhere. And I know things are very different in the US as they are here in Canada and
Right.
as they are around the world. And I think it doesn't matter where in the world we live, a lot of us face similar emotions, similar experience, and even the same ones, uh, going through different mindsets. So I mean, we're into our 7th month, right?
Nope.
So what's
Unbelievable.
unbelievable? Yeah. So, you know, what's something you've been doing, Alexis, during COVID-19 that you feel has helped you stay strong, uh, remain as positive as possible? And, you know, what's that advice you can share with other people, with others, specifically with other women out there?
Well, when COVID hit, I actually am a work at home for the most part
Mhm.
anyways when I'm not at a client site. So that shift
Mhm.
wasn't new to me like it was to a lot of people.
Yeah.
However, I found that not being able to go out and have my, lunch meetings, coffee meetings, whatever they might be, some of my
Mhm.
in-person networking meetings did really affect me. So I did, I'm going to break it into personally what I've done and kind
Yeah.
of work-wise. I'll start with work a little bit. I started and I keep reaching out to people, reconnecting with people that have been in my sphere, that I've worked with and before, but building connections, rebuilding connections. And when I reach out to people, I'm always offering, what can I do for you? Because again, that's where I get my energy anyway, is helping others. But just having those connections and making sure that I have, a certain number of, whether they're Zoom meetings or phone calls or whatever they are, a week with people I haven't been in touch with. And it's, rebuilding and solidifying relationships for my business. Personally, I've always been fairly good about working out, but I was really proud of myself for really getting into a at-home groove of working out and doing in a variety of things, which is not something I've done. I would go to the gym and do the same things. But I also started a morning quiet meditation time, which I meditated off and on, but never consistently. And whether I meditate in the morning or just spend 5 or 10 minutes just sitting quietly, drinking my tea and not on the computer, not listening to news, whatever, just to kind of center myself for the day, it's really, I have felt the difference that it's made. And it's really helped me just, especially, because I think we're all kind of like this on our
Oh,
COVID
definitely.
emotions.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing for myself to try and just kind of, again, taking care of myself, which I think we all need to do more of as women.
Definitely. You know, I like how you really hit the message about taking care of ourselves, because it is, no matter what, right? If we do not put ourselves as a priority, a number one priority, no one's going to do it for us. And the fact is, no matter how busy your life can get, you know, the fact that you're taking a few minutes to, I'll say, focus on yourself, meditate, what, you know, people call it different things, but it's 5 minutes, you know, it's 3 minutes, it's 10 minutes, whatever works for you is what's important. Because a lot of women think, oh, I have to do like this or I have to do like that. It's
Hmm.
like whatever works from you. And you know, again, you touch base on it, Alexis, how you found what worked for you, and you found that, okay, I need this quiet time to reflect again, and I need to move my body again. And whatever way works for you, I think is a really valid, important message. Because we, you know, we can get so wound up into what other people are doing, thinking we need to do it their way, that it only ends up putting undue stress, you know, on ourselves.
And then we
So
do nothing.
and then we do nothing,
because
exactly, right? And you get more frustrated and more stressed. So I love how you shared that, because we do need to, we can never hear that message enough about find what works for you.
what
Find
may I
time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so well, something that you said, we get so busy and we take care of everybody else,
yeah.
you know, and women, now there's the studies that women have taken on both with their working and the home care and the
Hmm.
child care and the school at home and all that. But if you burn out, you're no good to anybody.
No,
You will not be good for yourself, for your family, for your customers, for your clients, for your work, whatever. So you have to do something so you don't
yeah.
burn out.
Yeah, yeah, that's so important. I almost hit burnout twice. And yeah, I just like stopped everything and it was hard, right? But just shut down everything for a good 8 weeks. Because like, okay, we need to step back because your brain and your body can only go so much on adrenaline, and once it's depleted, what it's called adrenal fatigue. Once it's depleted, you're not going anywhere. So thank you
Right.
for pointing that out. And I love how, when I was reading a little bit about your bio, um, how I'm going to put a twist a little bit on it, how women in
Uh-oh.
power can sometimes have the lowest self-esteem and the lowest self-confidence. And they're not showing because they're afraid to reveal their true self. So what's your reflection on that? And how do you help a lot of women start believing in themselves?
Well, I think you have to surround yourself with the right people, first of all. Um, we all, no matter how powerful we are, no matter where we are in the corporate ladder, the business environment, whatever the case may be, we all have those times of self-doubt and low confidence. One of the things I try and help people think through is, when are those times that you do feel confident?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about those times, whether it's what you're doing, who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's as subtle as that. We all have that favorite blouse or piece of jewelry or whatever the case may be, where if it's every time we put it on, we just feel great. So finding those things so that you can recreate them in those times of self-doubt, and have your tribe, have your personal board, whatever you want to call it. Have that group that you can that those one or two people, or the group that you can rely on to vent, to ask questions, and they can help pick you up.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because two messages I'm always putting out there is surround yourself around people that lift you up and support you, and let go and say goodbye to those negative people. And the other thing about, finding something that uplifts you. I just wrote a post about that the other day. On days where I'm feeling down, I'll grab that piece of clothing that makes me feel great inside, or, like any accessories. So it's interesting that, I just posted about that, and then you mentioned it.
And
So
I didn't even see it.
you didn't even see it exactly. So it's definitely, I mean, I'm not the only one that thinks that, right? It's like, okay, you're feeling down, grab that favorite outfit or grab that favorite accessory that you put it on, and it's like, oh, kind of makes you puts a smile on your
Totally.
face. So, it's interesting that you said that. I loved it. Um, so Alexis, as we're slowly winding down our, conversation today, there's always three questions. I always love the full conversation, but I'll say my favorite part of the conversation is these last three questions I'm going to ask, because we're going to learn a little bit more about who is Alexis, right? We've learned about the professionalism and what you do to help the women in your field, but let's dig a little deeper. There's so many quotes that many of us just live by, and now and then go back and read what the quote is. So what is one quote, Alexis, that you love and now and then find yourself going back to?
Well, it's so funny that what you just said just a few minutes before about surrounding yourself with the right people and letting go of the negative. My favorite quote is Maya Angelou: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Now there's that second piece of it, believe them the first time. I just knock off the first time piece of it, because I think things have been happening. I think things happen to us all the time where we're surprised by somebody. I've maybe as I've gotten older, I've been able to start to live by that more and decide who it is that really is the ones that are uplifting me. And, sometimes it means letting go of people that you thought were somebody else. But I, it's how I live right now and who I have in my circle.
Yeah, so true, right? There's certain people that you get around and you just feel yourself drained
Mm.
and drained and drained. And at the end, it's like you have nothing left. And then there's other people that you just feel so uplifted and happy and you feel energized. So yeah, definitely gravitate towards those people, right? Because they're there, I feel, for the same reasons you are, right? They're there to connect and to help each other just stay positive overall. So yeah, I love that quote. What about, advice? And I know you shared some advice too,
Mhm.
but more on a personal note, what's the advice that you can share with our audience, with our listeners today, Alexis?
I think be kind to yourself. You
Mm,
know, what we're going through right now is obviously, as they say, unprecedented, but even once we're through this,
yeah,
I we're not always kind to ourselves. We don't always give ourselves permission. We don't always give ourselves breaks. We don't always turn off what we were talking about before,
yeah,
whatever the chatter is in our head.
yeah.
So take time to be kind to yourself, whatever that is for you.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we need to treat ourselves, use words for ourselves like we would our best friends.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the last question. And I always say you cannot include family as your answer. So if this was the last day of your life, Alexis, what's the one thing that you would be grateful for?
Um, I would say, and maybe it's just where I'm reflecting on right now and where we are, I'm going to say the women in my life who have mentored me, supported me, encouraged me, all of that, because it's a beautiful tribe and it's one that I rely on.
Mhm.
And I actually, every day I say I'm grateful to that group.
Nice, nice. Love that, love that, love that. Because yeah, when we lean on others, it makes us stronger overall. And it makes us as a whole community strong and stronger. And we continue to, I feel, grow in a positive way and grow to have our messages heard by many more. So thank you very much, Alexis, for being here, for sharing your wonderful wisdom, sharing your powerful words, and especially when I'm going to say powerful as in when you talked about kindness, being kind, being, caring for yourself. I think a lot of that, it it means so much of the power of your own words, the power of accepting who you are, the power of the value you have to share, for others as well. It's a good word. It means so many things. So if you want to know how to reach Alexis, of course, all the information is underneath this episode here, how to reach, Alexis, where to find her, and a little bit about her bio is there as well. And as always, when you go to bed this evening, before you close your eyes, think about the best thing that happened, whether it be a thought, whether it's something you saw, and every day have gratitude for what you have in your life. And remember, gratitude can be the smallest things, but it's huge when you feel it and set it out there. So thank you again, Alexis, for being here. And I thank you, our listeners, for listening to another one of my mindful conversations. Have a beautiful day. Honor who you are and love who you are. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.